Okay, welcome back, and in this video we're going to go through the parts list that everything that came with the airplane. You already saw the main components of the airplane, the two wings, the horizontal vertical stabilizer, and the fuselage. They're all sitting over there. But this is all the other stuff that came with it. I'm going to start with the landing gear. Landing gear looks very sturdy, like it a lot. I think it'll work well. The wheel pants, probably will use them because the wheels are quite large. As you can see, these wheel pants and the wheels are going to work very nicely at the field that I fly at. So what I'm going to do is organize all of this in plastic bags. And so let me put the wheel pants in first. Okay. So the two wheel pants will go in a nice 1 gallon size plastic bag along with the two wheels. And then you got two sets of screws. The main gear is an M4 by 20, and I've got 4 lock washers. There's 3 of them. So I've got 3 lock washers and 3 regular washers and 3 M4 by 20 screws in a nice bag. So that's going to go in there. And then for the wheel pants, you've got 4 M3 by 12 screws, and that's for the wheel pants. And then the last thing is, it's very nice of them, the shafts for the wheels come already on it, the 2 locking collars and the nut for that, so they'll just drop right in there as well. So that way, when you're ready to do the landing gear, everything's all right there in one bag. Okay, so next is the tank. The tank looks like a real good size, so I'll put the tank in a quart size bag, and in there you only got 1 small piece of tubing. That's not going to be enough because we're going to do a 3-line tank, and so there'll be some orange and green tubing to complete the 3-line tank. At least the stopper already has its 3 lines in it. And it has a clunk, and you'll see in the later videos what I'm going to add to make it a complete 3-line tank. This little piece of wood here is for blocking the tank in place so it doesn't move, and this is a nice piece of plywood to hold the tank in place. So everything for the tank, again, goes in one nice plastic bag. And they're all going in this nice plastic box. Next, you have the engine mount. 2 engine mounts. We'll probably use these because you're using a cowl. It's important the location of the engine mount. I have a different engine mount for the engine I'm going to use, but I think these will work better because it'll be the right distance from the firewall out so that the cowl matches. So those are the 2 engine mounts, and then here you've got 4 M4 by 20, 4 screws with 4 washers. So when you get ready to do the engine, that's going to go right in there. There's 4 small cowl screws. As you can see, they're just tiny little sheet metal screws, and so that's for the cowl. Along with the cowl, 2 wing bolts, kind of easy to identify. The 4 windows get their own little bag, and so they don't get separated or lost or anything. For the tail wheel, comes already pre-assembled, which is nice. Got the locking collar on it, and but the 2 screws that I found sort of loose in there are M3 by 12 sheet metal screws, and that's for the tail wheel. So the tail wheel and its screws will get its own little quart bag, so that that's good to go. The tail wheel. Now for ailerons, all you got so far is the control horns, and these are the control horns without the extra tab on it. You got so you got 2 control horns, 2 metal clevises, and the fuel tubing on the clevises, and then each control horn needs 3 screws, so there's 6 screws that are M2 by 14s, and that'll go in this bag. But later on in this bag we'll put the servos and servo extensions and anything else we need for the ailerons. Elevator, same way. You've got 1 control horn, and it does have the extra little plastic tab on it, and then 1 clevis with a piece of fuel tubing on it, and 3 of the M2 by 14 screws that screw it together. So again, the servo and anything else we need for that will go in that bag later. So for the rudder, again, the control horn with a tab and the clevis and 3 screws, M2 by 14s, go in a bag for the rudder. And the servo and everything else that'll go with it will go in that bag later. For the throttle, all we got right now is the clevis with the silicone tubing keeper on it, and again that'll have a servo to go with it later. And last but not least is my favorite bag. It's the extra parts. I just call it the extra parts that I am not going to use because this is for the electric mount. That's the electric mount, and that is the extra support for it, and so we won't need that. There's a couple of tie wraps in here. Haven't figured out where they go yet. I looked through the manual, couldn't figure out where you were going to use them. And then there's a bag of extra parts in here. I don't use these little keepers. They use an L bend, and this is the keeper for the L bend. I find those L bends to be not very sturdy, and so I'll probably use Z bends. This is a connector for the push rod, probably for the throttle. These don't work very well because it has 2 screws that can come loose. I'll show you the quick connects that I use from later on from Dubro. This is the bag of parts to mount the electric motor and so forth. So this is my bag of stuff I don't need, and I'll just keep all that in one nice little bag, and if I end up needing it, I know where it is. It's right there in that box. So the other 2 things, you got a aluminum tube for joining the 2 wings, and you should have 5 push rods, 2 long ones, 1 medium-sized one, and 2 short ones for the ailerons. And the medium-sized one is for the throttle, and this little tube here is for the throttle as well. And they should all have small little nuts on the end here. Those little nuts right there help hold the metal clevis on, and that's how I like to do it. And I always like to use metal clevises. Glad to see this kit does not give me plastic clevises like many of the other kits have. So that's all the small parts that came with it, and how I organize it in a bag, in a box. And when I need something, it's all labeled and ready to go. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.